Hi girls, okay, so this is lesson number 4, division in algebra. So obviously your previous lesson to this was simplifying fractions that algebraic fractions that have the denominators with algebraic terms, okay? So what we're looking at now is lesson number 4, and it's division in algebra. So the note that I put here to take down is that you factorize above and below and simplify by dividing above and below also, okay? So let's look at these, right? So the following. Okay, so the examples here that we have, and I want you to take down all of these examples as part of your notes. So simplify the following, right? So we have 7x divided by 14. So if we think about it, 7 will go into 7 and 7 will go into 14 twice. So what we're left with then really is x all over 2. We can't simplify it any further. Now let's look here. Okay, I've got 9x squared y as my numerator. I've got 3xy as my denominator. So I can divide 3 goes into 9 3 times. X goes into x squared and you're left with x, and y goes into y once. So really your answer then for this is really 3x all over 1, which really becomes 3x, okay? Because everything down here went in and divided in above here, so we're left with 3x. Okay, let's look at this one now, right? At the moment, you could say, could I divide the x in up here? No, you can't, because x would have to divide into everything here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take into account, can I factorize the top? So let's say we have 3x plus 12, which if we factorize using the highest common factor, doesn't that become 3 bracket? Now what do you multiply 3 by to give you? Because that's the highest factor, divides into 3x and it divides into 12. So 3 is the common factor. What do you multiply by 3 by to give you 3x? You have x. What do you multiply by 3 by to give you 12 plus 4? So now let's go back up here. So the top line now is really 3 bracket x plus 4 all over x times x plus 4. Okay, so now that will actually divide into that. And what you'll be left with then is, so we just say this is my little rough work, right, for factorizing. Actually, it's not really a rough work. You keep this as well, okay? So rough work for factorizing. So really then what we have is 3 all over x, and that's your answer. You can't go any further. Okay, so let's look at this. The numerator, we've got x minus 1 times x plus 3 all over x plus 3. Now, can this divide in? Yes, that will divide in here. And what you'll be left with then is x minus 1, and that is your answer. Okay, you can't simplify it any further. Right, now let's look at this one, right? This is actually from, do you know, the slides, which I think I haven't put up yet, but I'm taking this example from your PowerPoint slides. So simplify 15x minus 25 all over 3x minus 5. Right, so again, at the moment, I can't divide anything above and below. So let's take the top, or the numerator, so we'll say top, and we'll see can we factorize. So 15x minus 25. So what's a common factor of 15 and 25? The highest common factor is 5. X is on its own, there's no variables here. So let's see here then, what do we have? So 5 comes out, what do you multiply 5 by to give you 15x? It'd be 3x. What do you multiply 5 by to give you 25? It'd be minus 5. I can't simplify that any further. So really then bring this back up here. Top line then, we have 5 bracket 3x minus 5 all over 3x minus 5. And that will actually go into that. And what you'll be left with is really 5 over 1, which becomes 5. Okay, now let's look at this one here, right? So at the moment, nothing will divide in. I can't divide this whole expression here and here. So let's take the top again. Now what do you notice with x squared minus 9? Isn't that the difference of two squares, right? Because that's x all in brackets v squared minus 3 all in brackets v squared. So we'll say difference of two squares. So isn't this really x minus 3 and x plus 3? So really on top here, we'll come back up here. We will have x minus 3 and x plus 3, sorry, squeezing that in there, all over x minus 3. So that will divide into that, and what you'll be left with then is x plus 3. And that is your answer. You can't simplify that any further. Right, now let's look at this one here. Okay, so on top we have a quadratic trinomial, and on the bottom we have 3x minus 9 expression. Okay, so let's take the top and we'll try and factorise it using our normal method of factorising. So x squared minus 5x plus 6. Right, so remember we bring out the plus 6, remind myself what signs I multiply together will give me plus. Plus times a plus, minus times a minus. We're getting the factors of 6 that will add together to give me 5. Forget about the sign in the middle. So 1 times 6. 1 times 6 is 6. 6 plus 1, does that give me 5? No, it doesn't. It gives me 7. Let's go again. 2 multiplied by 3 will give me 6. 3 plus 2, will that give me 5? Yes, it will. What sign is in front of the middle term? It's a minus, so I'm taking the 2 minuses. So minus, minus. So we'll have x minus 2 and we'll have x minus 3. Okay, so that's factorising the top line. Let's factorise the bottom now, right? Can we factorise this further? Yes, we can. So we've got 3x minus 9. Okay, let's look. Is there a common factor here using highest common factor? Yes, there is. 3 will divide into 3, 3 will divide into 9. What do you multiply 3 by to give you 3x? It's x. What do you multiply 3 by to give you minus 9? It's minus 3. So let's go back up here then. So what you'll have then is x minus 2 and x minus 3, all divided by 3 bracket x minus 3. So the only things that will divide in or cancel is that will go into that, and your final answer then is x minus 2 all over 3. And you cannot simplify any further. That is your answer for that one, okay? You divide it above and below, you simplify it as much as you can, and that is your answer. Right, H then. Okay, so we have a normal expression up here and we have a quadratic trinomial. So we can't simplify the top line any further, but we can simplify the bottom or the denominator. So let's say x squared plus 18x plus 81. Let's factorise this, okay? So we take out our plus 81. On top of that, we'll say, what do you multiply together? What signs do you multiply together to give you plus? So it's plus times a plus or minus times a minus. I'm now getting the factors of 81 that when added together, because added together will give me 18. Forget about the sign from the middle. 1 times 81. 81 plus 1 does not give me 18. 2 doesn't go in. 3 goes in. So 3 times, I think it is 27, isn't it? 2 3s are 6. Yeah, 27. 27 plus 3, does that give me 18? No, it doesn't. 4, 5, 6, 7, doesn't go in. 8, 9. 9 times 9 will give me 81. And 9 plus 9 will give me 18. Now, what sign is in front of the 18? It's a plus, so I'm taking the 2 pluses here. So that's a plus and that's a plus. So we will have x plus 9 as one of my factors and x plus 9 as the other factor. Now let's come back up here then. So just show an arrow. So we'll have on top still x plus 9 as my expression, but below here we'll have x plus 9 and x plus 9. Now only one of those will cancel. That will only divide in once, okay? So what you'll be left with is 1 on top all over x plus 9. Now, this is different to having x plus 9 all over 1. You could just get rid of the 1 underneath, but you need to have 1 over x plus 9. If you just put down x plus 9 as your answer, it's incorrect. It's 1 over x plus 9 because it's like that goes into that once. So 1 over x plus 9. Now, finally, we have example I, where we have a quadratic trinomial that's in the second form, right? Because the coefficient of x squared is another number other than 1, different to what we have up here. The coefficient of x squared here is 1. So let's take the top, right? And we'll say 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. And we're going to factorise, okay? So factorise, and like we did up here, factorise, because simplifying as much as we can so we can divide above and below. Right, so we're going to say 2 multiplied by minus 3, which is minus 6. Okay, so we've got minus 6 now. I'm then reminding myself what signs are multiplied together will give me a minus. So plus times a minus or a minus times a plus. I'm then getting the factors of 6 that I'll take one away from the other to give me 5. So let's go. 1 times 6 is 6. 6 minus 1, does that give me 5? Yes, it does. Now, what sign is in front of the middle term? It's a plus. So we're taking a plus and a minus. So plus, because it's the sign in front of the middle term, goes with the bigger number. Minus goes with the smaller number. Now let's spread this out. So we'll put down the 2x squared, we'll put down the minus 3. And in the middle then we'll have minus 1x, or just minus x, same as saying minus 1x, and we will have plus 6x. Okay, so we'll group these two, and we'll group these two, right? So take your time then. Now let's see what a common factor here. The only common factor here is x. What do you multiply x by to give you 2x squared? It will be 2x. What do you multiply x by to give you minus x will be minus 1. I need to get 2x minus 1 over here. So let's see what we have. Our two different terms, 6x and minus 3. So the only common factor here is 3. Now if I take out minus 3, this would be minus 2x. No, I need to get a plus 2x. So let's take out plus 3. And what do you multiply plus 3 by to give you 6x? You multiply by 2x. That would be correct because that's positive here. What do you multiply 3 by to give you minus 3 minus 1? I'm happy because these two brackets are the same. So this is now like my common factor. So I put that down once. And I put down what's left over, x plus 3. So let's go back up here now. On my top line then, I have bracket 2x, I bracket 2x minus 1. And I have bracket x plus 3, all divided by 2x minus 1. So now that goes into that once, or they will cancel, so you'll be left with 1 over here. So your answer would actually be x plus 3 all over 1. Now you can leave the brackets, so you can just get rid of the brackets, whatever you feel yourself. And that really simplifies then just to x plus 3. And that's your answer then. You can't simplify any further. So that is your lesson on division in algebra. And just remember to simplify as much as you can. Spot when you can factorize above and below to simplify. So look at your top line, look at your bottom line. If you can simplify, now you might not have spotted that here, but you would notice that you can't divide above and below. So let's see if you can factorize anything in the top. Yes, you can. Take out what's common and then you'll be able to cancel. But don't forget to check, have you simplified as much or as low as possible as you can go. And that is your lesson. And if you have any questions, please let me know and I will give you a few questions on those to try.